1 minute it's fur, the next minute it's leather, and then it's going to be your steak and eggs and milk.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what it is.
Yes.
Again.
Why not?
Twinkle, twinkle, vegan stars.
Nice.
No,
nice,
I'm not starting with singing. That was
No.
atrocious. Should we start again?
No, it's all right. They'll forgive us. How are you guys?
Hello.
Mukbang time.
Yes,
eating
that time
show.
of the week again.
We eat together. We talk together.
That's what we do.
In
Well,
fact,
we talk, you listen, then you write back to us in the comments.
Yeah, so we're talking that way, aren't we?
Virtual talking.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for joining us. Really good to have you here. Really good to be here. Pause the video.
Sounds like you're giving a speech. Go and get some food.
Make sure it's vegan.
Yes, come back and eat with us.
Exactly.
Just in case you forgot the hashtag. And I was going to say, by the way, listen, some people leave comments saying, and I think it's people that are new to the channel, maybe they've come through the response videos.
I read this one this
the
morning.
last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And they're saying, so rude, don't eat with your mouth full. Listen, it's a mukbang, it's an eating show, that's the whole idea. You eat and you talk, just like when you have a meal with someone in real life, you sit down, you eat and you talk, right?
Yeah. That's it.
Don't people do that? Do people do that? Of course they do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we have food spilling out of our mouths.
Sometimes.
You mostly, maybe sometimes.
Oh, yeah. I bet you our viewers could vouch that they've seen things fly out of your mouth, that's for sure.
Yeah, true. Yeah, all right, fine.
Yeah,
whatever. The point is, it's an eating show, all right? So you're going to see food in the mouth whilst we're talking.
All right, speaking of eating, what are we having? We're having some baked potatoes. Yes, oven baked. These
Keeping it
are
simple.
yummy. Keeping it simple. Plane flying overhead.
Lovely salad.
Yeah, this has got chickpeas, green beans, cucumbers, red capsicum, tomato. I think that might be it. And I've just put some Himalayan pink salt and apple cider vinegar on top.
Beautiful.
And with the potatoes, we're going to have a tahini dressing. So there's tahini, soy sauce, lime juice, paprika. I'd normally use cayenne pepper, but I don't have any, and agave syrup.
Isn't that for the salad?
No, I thought I'd...
Changing it up
Changing
today.
it up. Yeah, I thought you could have it for your potatoes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Can I just put on everything?
You can actually. So
And what have you got down there?
the spoons. Because if I leave that balancing in there,
it's going to spill everywhere.
Going to spill. So
all right.
this is off to the side. So yeah, did you want to
Thank you.
do the honours?
Thank you, Luca.
You're welcome.
We thought about getting some takeaway, but we went for the healthier option. I'm like, just go and pick up some takeaway.
Yeah, I was going to say, let us know in the comments below.
Yeah.
That's what she wanted anyway. I'm deciding to keep it healthy. Yeah, let us know in the comments below. What are you guys having to eat? Is it breakfast? Is it lunch? Is it dinner? Where in the world are you eating it?
Is it snacks?
Are you eating it in your home, in your office, on holiday? Let us know.
So what are you doing? You're just putting, because we've never done this before. Are you dipping? See, you've changed the routine now. I don't know
Did
what
I
to
not
do.
say? People, did I not just say to her, do as she please?
What are you doing though? Tell me.
I don't know
what to do.
yet.
What
Once
should
you
I
hand
do?
it over to me.
Far out, Luca. But drizzle, let's see, it's going to clump. That could work. We never do this. You know, it's bad to experiment on camera.
Yeah, ordinarily that dressing would have been mixed through here, and I wouldn't have put the apple cider vinegar and the Himalayan pink salt. But
I'm feeling insecure about this.
are you?
I'm just saying.
I'm sure it's going to be fine.
Oh, you're really going for it. Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
It's the little things. Oh, and people were also saying in the comments, why do you eat with a fork for? Just use a spoon, your rice is falling off your fork. Listen, do you see how fast he eats?
Yeah, if
with a fork? If we give him a spoon, it's going to be over in about 3 seconds.
Yeah, I'll
We need to pace you.
Yeah, I'll have no food left for the majority of the mukbang.
We should give you chopsticks. Would you like to
Should
see
we
us?
use all of this now? We might as well.
Yeah, but I don't want to make my potatoes soggy, so I want to dip.
Okay.
Right?
So.
Can I have the
on
spoon?
your side?
No. I just
Okay, you want
want
that
the
spoon?
spoon
Yeah. Okay.
I was
And
gonna
you
say.
also need that, don't you?
Are you going to have anything out? Or you got more?
I really like to divide it right now. Is that possible?
This is what it does to me every time.
Yeah, well, I
guys.
mean, otherwise
I don't
I'll
want to divide.
finish all my food and there'll be leftover dipping.
You should have made the dipping sauce in 2 separate things. We are 2 people.
No.
Yes, we are 2 people with 2 different requirements for dipping sauces. Stop kicking me with your big knees. I love it. Oh, God.
That's good.
Is it? What I was trying to say before is, do you want to see Luca do a mukbang using chopsticks? Yep.
I think I've done one.
Have you?
Yeah, I think so.
Did you muff it up?
I could be wrong, I'm not sure.
They're nice. Oh, it's nice with the tahini. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I can double dip.
you can.
I'm not going to use all of this, you can have more.
Yeah? Let us know in the comments below if you've seen the Seinfeld episode about double dipping the chip.
Alright.
Hilarious.
Enough of the antics. We'll get on with the show.
This is part of the show, baby.
Food. That's a nice salad. It's really warm here today, so I'm enjoying this fresh salad.
Yeah, yeah. Only the canned chickpeas, and I soften them up a little bit on the stovetop because
I like it when you do that.
Yeah, I find sometimes canned beans, they haven't been cooked long enough. Let us know if you feel the same in the comments. And also soften the green beans with them, but then the rest is fresh.
That's really nice. And just in case you think I've been sitting on the lounge here like Princess Muck doing nothing, I've been editing our next podcast.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Yep.
Coming out early next week.
So today, the last two mukbang videos have been response videos, haven't they?
Yeah.
Last one to GABBIE, HANNA, and the one before that to THERESE. If you haven't watched those, we'll link them in the description below. A lot of interaction on those videos, a lot of engagement. Wow, some really positive outcomes.
Yes, and really good to see that a lot of their followers have come over to watch, which is great. That's why we do response videos.
People going vegan, letting us know in the comments, letting us know in direct messages on Instagram.
Some people
as a result of those videos, which is really good.
Yeah, some people getting a little upset with us, which is always to be expected. That's totally fine. Doesn't matter what the reaction is, as long as they've watched and heard the truth and spoken up for animals. That's all that matters.
As we've said so many times before, most people, not most people, but a lot of people dislike us when they first come across us. When they leave us a very negative, semi-hateful comment, maybe more than one. But then the more they watch, the more they learn, the more they realise, hey, these are just two regular people speaking up for innocent animals who, hang on a sec, they don't deserve to be killed, especially when we don't need to eat them or exploit them for any purpose.
And even if they don't come back and watch us again or agree with us, it doesn't matter. They've heard the truth.
Yeah.
Animals are not here for us. And all the rest of it.
They're here with us. So today, instead of a response video, it's a news desk style mukbang, which we
haven't done news
haven't done one in a while.
styles in a while. All right, so the first thing, this is very, very, very exciting. If you're in the UK, you might know that the Big Brother show has started again. I think it's is it season 5? I really should have checked. So we've already, where's my notes?
No, I think it's Channel 5, and they're up to like season 19 or something like that.
Aha, fine.
Anyway, interestingly, a vegan activist who attended our London activism workshop on our UK and Ireland activism tour recently in August, Kay, she's in the house and...
Kay's in the house.
She is.
Vegan in the Big Brother house. Give it up for Kay.
Kay's best friend Gemma, our host from London.
Hey Gemma.
Hey Gemma, let us know that Kay is in the house. And so we thought, wow, let's talk about it because it's a great potential platform to spread the vegan message to a lot of people.
It's mainstream TV. Now, I just want to say that Gemma, our friend, also let us know that they've put an Irish farmer in the house for this season.
That's right, and the tagline is "Let the mind games begin."
I love it.
That's good, isn't it? Yeah, farmer and a vegan. I presume a farmer who's involved in animal agriculture, or because it could be a farmer involved in plant agriculture.
Oh, no, Luca. Then they'd be allies. No, just no.
No, assuming
it is a...
No, so you're relating the tagline specifically to the vegan and the farmer. But the tagline's probably for the whole show.
See the overanalyzing, you ruin the moment. It's an agriculture farmer, an animal agriculture farmer.
Okay.
Now, Kay is up for eviction according to Instagram from 4 hours ago. So...
She stirred some SHIT.
Did she?
Yeah.
Already? Oh, good on her.
I don't know. No, sorry.
Oh, not vegan?
Not vegan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, anyhow.
So we need
Listen.
to keep Kay in.
We need to keep her in.
So she can start
Veganising.
the house.
So if you're
and
in the UK
audience.
and you can vote, you don't have to watch it. Just go and vote for Kay to keep her in. And it's very important because look at what happened in Israel in 2014.
Yep.
Tal Gilboa, an activist there, won Big Brother. And she was incredibly vocal and she helped veganize so many people watching the show. It was it was just amazing outcome.
Exactly. Such that somewhere between 5 and 8% of Israel's population is now vegan. And Tal Gilboa and obviously Gary Rovsky's tour of Israel, those two things are sort of credited mainly for that amazing percentage of the population that's vegan
Incredible.
now.
So getting vegans into these, mainstream TV shows is actually a really great idea. So yeah, as you said, Kay came to our activism workshop,
Yep.
and then we saw her again at the official Animal Rights March in London.
That's right.
So,
Vote to keep Kay in so that she can talk about veganism.
and by the way, we actually had Tal Gilboa, the Israeli activist, on our podcast show last year. I'm going to link that down below. That was a fantastic interview. He cried.
Yeah.
She brought you to tears.
She really, really did, guys. If you want to be moved, and if you want to hear someone who speaks with such power and authenticity and
So empowering
so
and motivating.
genuine and motivating and inspiring. Wow.
She's amazing. Check out that podcast. It's free on our website.
We'll link it down below.
This is really nice. Thank you.
It's very nice, isn't it? Yeah. You're welcome. So next news story.
Okay.
The LA fur ban.
Wow. I'm sure so many people have already heard about this. Let me bring up the articles. Can you sing the song? Do it.
No, I'm tone deaf.
That's the elevator waiting song. I'm ready.
It actually comes from something else as well, I think.
I thought it was from Sesame Street. I remember that on Sesame Street when I was a kid. Doesn't matter.
Let us know
I
where
found
that
the article.
originally comes from, guys, if you know.
So, Los Angeles is banning the sale of animal fur. That is amazing. And our friends Anna and Brian from Those Annoying Vegans here on YouTube and other social media, they've been part of this campaign. Well done, guys. We met them again this year at our
Los Angeles Activism Workshop, and they have just taken their activism to amazing heights since then. They are so passionate, so enthusiastic, so active on all their social media,
Beautiful
particularly
example for people
YouTube
to
and
follow.
Instagram. Yeah, really great example.
So they've been heavily involved in this campaign. Good on you guys.
Thank you for all your hard work, guys.
So the short of it is, I was going to say the short and curlies of it. That's very Australian. Ignore me.
LA is taking steps to become the largest US city to ban the sale of new fur products. So it's a legislative process. That word is difficult to pronounce when you've got a mouthful. Legislative process. So it hasn't been enacted yet.
No.
It says something.
The draft bill
must gain final approval by the council and then be signed by the mayor to be enacted. So
it's still and it's going to take. They're giving them 2 years for this to come into effect. That will give businesses 2 years to transition. Now that is really shitty, but that's just the reality of the shitty world that we live in. So if this all does pass and go through, there could still be 2 years of animals being exploited and murdered for fur until this kicks in. But I guess 2 years is better than forever.
Yeah.
If it never came into effect at all.
Yeah.
You know.
And Los Angeles, I mean, obviously Hollywood is located in Los Angeles, and obviously there's a lot of, fashion and designer names and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So it's a great city for such a ban to be enacted in, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I've been just reading various things. Obviously they're hoping that this all goes through, everything's great, and then they want to go statewide, so California. I mean, huge state, that would be great. And I read somewhere, I think they were saying New York and Chicago, I hope you're watching, or Miami, I think it was, whatever. Other cities watching. So they want to set a precedent, and they want to influence other cities and
states.
And hopefully this takes off and goes countrywide.
Yeah, because I think if I recall correctly, I remember reading something years ago when Arnold Schwarzenegger was the governor of California, I think that California might have had like the 5th largest economy in the world.
Yeah, I remember something like that.
You remember something like that too? So huge.
Mm.
So fur. We've got another story, haven't we?
Oh, I've still got more on fur.
We've got more on this one?
I'm enjoying this.
No. Yeah, I thought another fur story, but not in LA anymore.
No, still in LA.
Still in LA. We're still in LA.
Read your notes, Luca.
They're not on the screen.
I'm too busy stuffing my face. What did I want to read out? Wait. Oh, all right, I'll just play the clip.
So you had it listed
there
down
we go. Okay, ABC 7 News. And this, by the way, was on various channels on mainstream media, so this is fantastic.
Yeah.
So this one particular interview or story that they did, they interviewed someone from the fur industry. And what he said, I just have a listen to this. Hold on.
A spokesperson for the fur industry worries this is a slippery slope for more government regulations. And it's about animal use. And it's about, does a very small minority have the right to determine for the majority what we choose to wear, to eat, to buy? And the campaigns against leather, the campaigns against wool, the campaigns against meat are already well underway.
Yes, they damn well are. That's right, buddy. Yes, they are.
So this is
fascinating.
Fascinating. And the industry is using human psychology here. So if you notice, he said, does a very small minority have the right to influence the very large majority? So he's reminding viewers that, these activists, they are in the minority.
Yeah, but hold on.
We are, as non-vegans, we are the majority. Oh, I see what you're saying, because it's not food related.
No, but the thing is, where are the pro-fur protests out there on the streets? You're not in the majority. And look at how many people...
But remember, he's trying to link.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just talking about fur specifically.
Yeah, but
you're not in the majority. Now, yes, then he's trying to link into all these other issues.
Strategically. So he knows that people who eat animal products are in the majority compared to people who don't eat animal products. And what he's trying to do is elicit sympathy from that very large group of people representing 99% of the population to worry about their freedom of choice, perhaps to eat animal products, perhaps being taken away if people's freedom of choice to purchase fur products are taken away, for example.
It's a fear campaign.
It is. That's
it's
exactly
almost like,
what it is. It's a psychological fear campaign.
Your civil liberties are being threatened by these extreme activists. 1 minute it's fur, the next minute it's leather, and then it's going to be your steak and eggs and milk.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what it is.
Yes, and he also mentioned the government. Because people don't like to be controlled by the government, and people by and large don't like the current Trump government, do they? Mm-hmm. So they're also tapping into that dislike for government control and the current government as well.
They're playing the it's your choice as a consumer. Now, it's not your choice as a consumer when it affects the life of someone else.
Simple as that.
It's not needed. We don't have to tear the skin off another being. We don't have to slit their throat and chop up their body.
We don't have to cage them and enslave them against their will when many of these animals, roam free in the wild, covering, large distances. We don't need to anally electrocute them. We don't need to, in the case of Angora and rabbits, pluck them alive, and it's where they screech and scream in agony.
It's the most horrific sound. It's awful.
Fur is one of the most barbaric. I don't like to compare the barbarity of different industries, but fur would have to be one of the most, if not the most barbaric industry. And we will look back on this time when we wore animals' skins, and we will say, what were we thinking? Imagine if we all walked around wearing human skin.
It's
as a fashion
such a
accessory.
Weird thing to do. It's a weird thing to do. And it's normalised because that's what we've always done, but that doesn't make it normal. We have to see things. There's a difference between something being normal and something being normalised.
That's right. And just because we've been doing something a long time, that doesn't make it morally justifiable.
So, I thought this little clip from this pro-fur guy was fascinating. And he was right in linking all of those other things. Sure, fur is a single issue campaign, but we're talking about the exploitation of animals across all areas, and it's all going to come down.
As he said, the use of animals. And all
And
use
to-
is exploitation.
Hey, buddy, I'm glad you get it. I'm glad you get it, and I can't wait until fur is absolutely taken off the catwalks and leather's next, and we get that right out. Leather's going to be a hard one to get rid of.
Well, what
But
would be
it's
great
possible.
in an ideal world, whether or not it's probable or not is a different question, but if we could get to the use of animals
I know.
before we have to go through each
Yeah, each
individual industry, like, do we have to tackle fur,
Yeah.
then we have to tackle leather, then we have to
and
wool
and
and
silk.
down and silk, or can we just at some point get to the use of animals?
You're
and say,
talking about an evolution of our species on a level that I don't know if we're going to be able to do in this lifetime. We're talking about a revolution of the mind, of our understanding, of our interaction with other beings.
we may
you
be
know-
forced there economically and environmentally.
Yes, but that's force. That's not seeing that the exploitation of all animals is wrong. That's being forced to do it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Time will tell. But what did come out, this is still linked to fur, is in London, in the UK, London Fashion Week.
Vows to be fur free.
So this happened like the other week, very recently. The reason for this is, we love it. We actually did an activism workshop here in Chiang Mai, Thailand, just the other weekend. And this article came out, this news came out just before that workshop. So we quickly put this in to what we now talk about because it's a wonderful example of how numbers matter when we're talking about activism for animals.
Right. So the group, what was the name of the group? Was it Surge?
Yeah, Surge.
So Surge Activism, Earthling Ed's group,
Yep.
they started campaigning against the use of fur at London Fashion Week back in 2016 with, I believe, around 25 activists. And 2 years later, in 2018, 250 activists were protesting the use of fur in London Fashion Week. So it had increased tenfold.
And that's what influenced London Fashion Week to drop fur this year.
That was one of the main mechanisms. Obviously, there's been a lot of campaigning by other organisations
Yes.
over the years that have
Yes.
put pressure and what have you, but this very direct action, non-violent direct action,
Yeah.
where basically 250 people shaming these fashion houses,
Yeah. For the length of Fashion Week. Well, it's a week, isn't it?
shame on you. And
A lot of media attention, a lot of negative attention.
Yes.
Social media was going crazy. So, would they have done it if the 25 remained at 25 or increased to 35 or 45?
unlikely.
But 25 to 250, that's massive
Yeah.
growth. And so they had to pay attention.
That's right. And there's
take
another.
it seriously.
That's right, and there's another side to this story. 10,000 or thereabouts
Yeah.
people marched in London for the official Animal Rights March on the 25th of August, which we attended and made a video of. If you haven't watched it, check it out down below. A lot of people have said, wow, it's a fantastic video.
Very inspiring.
Very inspiring video.
If we do say so ourselves.
Well, no, I said a lot of people in the comments have
Oh,
said,
yeah, sure.
And now, we said that didn't register a bleep in the mainstream media.
No
You know,
coverage at all.
no coverage at all, and that is because the march was
Legal.
legal. It had been Surge Activism had liaised with police. Police were escorting, if you like,
Streets were blocked up.
designated streets. It was a
Yeah.
designated route. Basically, it was the least disruptive.
Yeah, there was no...
There was no disruption.
No disruption. There was nothing that would get the media's attention, There
was
was
just-
no violence. There was nothing. I mean, if one of those 10,000 threw a brick through McDonald's, yeah, sure, media would have been on it, but then it wouldn't have been a non-violent, peaceful protest.
That's right.
So there was nothing in it for the media.
It didn't
No,
fit.
no coverage.
That's right. It didn't fit their narrative
Yeah.
of stereotyping vegan activists as militant and extreme. Because it was just 10,000 people peacefully
Peacefully
demonstrating, But 250 activists taking direct action and causing a hell of a lot of...
Disruption.
Exactly.
And shame to an industry and getting a lot of attention and, a few clashes with police here and there. Hey. It was all over.
Not instigated by the
Not
activists.
of course not. It was all over the media. And we got the result of what we wanted,
in fact clashes with the police. Wasn't that incident with Peter at London Fashion Week last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, where the police actually throttled an activist by the throat. And then I was speaking with another activist who was also present at that same action a year ago, and he was saying the police bent his fingers back.
So, not that we want to, turn anybody away from doing direct action.
No, but what we're saying is the actual violent, extreme and militant ones are the police, not the activists.
In that case,
Yeah.
the point is, taking direct action and really disrupting gets results. And that's not to say we shouldn't be marching in the streets. We should, and we should increase those numbers. And we need to do all of it. But if we want to get media's attention, direct action. So that is wonderful for fur. Oh, and one last thing. Because fur seems to be the topic of the day, we're trying to get, or we have got, well, we will.
Which tense?
Which one? Depends on when you're watching this. We're going to have Rob Banks on our podcast show. We're going to record this over the weekend. Again, it depends on when you're watching this. A few days' time. Rob is a anti-fur protester, anti-fur activist in New York City. Very amazing, passionate activist there in New York. So we're going to talk to him more about fur. So we'll let you know when
fascinating conversation.
It's going to be great. We've got some really good questions and discussions that we want to thrash out with him, because it just kind of opens Pandora's box. Oh, and I will say, there was on Instagram, there's a pro-fur profile. Pro-fur profile. These people are absolutely
That's right. Thank you for remembering this.
It's just...
So the page is called We Are Fur. It's a fur industry page. Now, they posted recently saying a well-balanced written article from High Snobiety on how animal activists use extreme, intimidating, aggressive and borderline mass bullying tactics to push their opinions onto brands and consumers, impacting the fur industry as well as the consumer, taking away freedom of choice. Now, this is fascinating. So
The language.
The activists are extreme, intimidating, aggressive and borderline mass bullying tactics. What do you guys think you do as an industry to animals? Innocent, defenseless animals. You anally electrocute them, you rip their fur off, sometimes alive, sometimes you gas them, you cage them. But people speaking up against that barbarity, they're the extreme. And this is a case of the industry playing the victim card. They do it so well all the time, and they do it in the animal agriculture industries as well. For example, whenever there's a drought.
Camera cut out. I don't know what we're up to.
I was saying the industry loves to play the victim card, so be aware of that. Don't buy into that.
No.
They at the expense of the actual victims.
Of course.
If they play the victim, it takes the consumer's attention away from the real victims, the animals.
All right. That's for really looking forward to having Rob on the show, talking about this more. It's very interesting. All right, pace yourself. You only got 4 potatoes left. What are you doing? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
This was bigger. My
It's all relative. Pace. We've got 2 more stories to get through.
Okay.
He slowly and carefully picked up the plate.
It's the spoon.
Okay. Now, another thing that's been going on, Hurricane Florence in North Carolina. My goodness, the images that have been coming out from North Carolina are just horrific.
And we were in North Carolina in June for our US activism tour, and we did a 5-day, 5 days of vigils with the Save movement, and we experienced what was like semi-hurricane type weather. And
That's right. It was on my birthday, actually. Everything was going fine, and then in the afternoon this storm came, and we were laughing at the time, but we were actually quite scared as well. It was horrific. It was just...
And that was nothing compared to Hurricane Florence. It wasn't even a hurricane.
No,
it was just an absolute torrential downpour.
I think it was a mini. Anyway, we've experienced a fraction of that weather. It's awful. But what we also experienced in North Carolina was the mass farming. Driving through, it's a beautiful state. It's absolutely gorgeous.
But at the same time, it's the most densely populated, factory farmed place on earth.
And slaughterhouses as well,
And slaughterhouses as well.
And so just driving through, the landscape is fascinating. It's beautiful, but then you see all these sheds. And you go, yeah, those sheds are full of animals. You know, these aren't just pictures that we're seeing on the screen. They exist, and it's haunting. It just blew our mind to see the mass scale of this. Oh my gosh. So, Hurricane Florence devastated North Carolina, and the animals that were left behind.
So they estimate that 5,000 pigs and 3.4 million birds believed dead are out of a total of about 9 million pigs and 819 million chickens and turkeys across the state.
A lot of death. A lot of death.
A lot of death and a lot of enslavement.
Yeah, so...
Because those animals that were not affected by the floods or not killed in the floods, they will ultimately be killed for their flesh.
That's the thing. So obviously there was a lot of news coverage about this, which was very good to see that they were also focusing on the non-human victims in the hurricane. And, you know, look at this image here. I mean, there are dead bodies floating in water. That is shocking. That is shocking to see. And how scary for the animals not to kind of know what's going on or understand it. And so many of them, of course, they're trapped in the sheds. You know, the doors were locked, and so many of the birds obviously couldn't get out of their cages. Sometimes I've seen images of the pigs walking around, so I don't know if those were left open or how they got out, but anyway. Absolutely horrible. So this excerpt from an article we found was interesting.
As for the animals, most of them were relocated before the storm. As of Wednesday, the North Carolina Department of Agriculture reported that an estimated 5,500 pigs had died because of Florence. Chickens and turkeys, however, weren't so lucky. An estimated 3.4 million birds were killed.
Weren't so lucky. What does that mean? They're all going to be killed anyway for meat.
Those birds are going to actually be hung upside down by their feet and have their heads passed through a bath of water with an electric current running through it to render them unconscious. And then they're going to have their throats slit and they're going to bleed out.
But
How is
they're
that
the lucky ones? That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, as I said, lots of terrible images of just animal bodies floating in the water, being pulled out. A lot of activists there trying to help. And the question we should be asking ourselves is why these animals bred into existence in the first place and housed in these disgusting sheds, these prisons.
Yeah, and now
it's that they're, it's
That's
the
right.
whole industry. It's not, they were left behind. No, it's that they were bred in the first place and put in these sheds.
Exactly.
So we could eat them.
Yeah,
No.
we had a direct message, I think, on Instagram. It was from one of our followers saying they had a frustrating experience in their workplace where all of their not yet vegan colleagues were speaking very sympathetically about the animal victims of Hurricane Florence, but of course they were then consuming the body parts of those very same animals for lunch that day at work. So there was this, disconnect. And of course, how can you be sympathetic on one hand if your food choices are actually paying for the animals to be there in the first
be there
place,
in those
as you
sheds.
said? Yeah.
This is my thought, and let us know what you think. People are seeing the animals outside of the sheds.
Oh yeah.
People are seeing the animals, like this picture here I'm showing you. The pig is outside of the shed. They're in the water, they're in the flood. And for the first time, perhaps, consumers are seeing a pig not in a cage, not in the shed, not as food, not in a slaughterhouse, but out. It's in a different location. They're seeing it from a different perspective, that this individual may not have to be in a cage. And so for some reason, they are connecting and relating to that individual outside of the cage. But if we took that pig, put him or her back in the cage,
Take the hurricane away.
all of a sudden, no, I don't want to see that, or that, they're for our food,
Bacon though.
right? Take them out of the cage, put them on the roof of the slaughterhouse, of the shed,
See them bewildered, confused.
and all of a sudden we have sympathy. Take the pigs off the roof of the shed, put them inside, and all of a sudden they're food, and they were supposed to be there and God gave them to us, and etc., etc.
Fascinating.
to
Absolutely
see.
fascinating. The mental gymnastics
Very
that
interesting.
that we play in order to cover up our innate compassion.
Yeah.
And empathy.
And if there is, oh gosh, if you can pull anything positive out of this situation, it's that maybe people who are watching the hurricane and seeing the images of the animals, having these discussions, maybe they'll start to make some kind of connection. Maybe they'll start to ask these questions. Why am I sympathetic to this pig outside of the shed, but when the pig's inside the shed and activists or vegans or, you know, my vegan friend over here wants to show me a picture, I don't want to see it. And I think that's okay. And that's food.
And
why?
That's right. And perhaps vegans can potentially have these conversations with not yet vegans who are showing sympathy for these animals and the victims of Hurricane Florence. You know, ask these questions to your not yet vegan colleagues, family members, friends.
Yeah.
You know, ask them, do they feel somewhat hypocritical? You know,
It's a good conversation starter.
Yeah.
You know.
and there's a lot of. Were you going to continue with the same point? Or?
Yeah, no, I'm going to change points, so go on.
Okay, I'm going to the waste. Where are you going?
Yeah, I was going
you're
there
going
too.
to the waste. Okay.
We are connected.
So there are massive manure pits, which the industry euphemistically calls lagoons.
They're shit pits.
Shit pits all throughout North Carolina where these factory farms are located. And they're overflowing. And all of that feces is going into the waterways.
It's a massive health problem, health risk.
Huge.
It's disgusting.
And this is one way that the animal agriculture industry externalizes their costs. So they're not going to pay for any of the cleanup costs associated with the pollution of everybody's waterways from this manure from their farms. So if they were to pay for those cleanup costs, they would have to pass on those costs to the consumer via the price of the animal products that they produce, making the cost of these animal products a lot more than they currently are, which would price out a lot of people from being able to afford them. You know, and they would no longer be cheaper than vegan plant-based animal product alternatives. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So, and I was thinking, I put this scenario to the other day. What if there was a dog meat producer in North Carolina that was exporting dog meat to China, where some Chinese eat dog meat, for example? And let's imagine Hurricane Florence came along and a huge lagoon, shit pit from the dogs from that factory farm overflowed and went into the waterways and contaminated people's water and people got sick. Would there be an outcry from the residents? Would there be uproar?
How will they react to dog feces floating in the water and potentially killing people?
They would point the finger at the industry, at the dog meat producer, and they'd go ballistic, wouldn't they?
But when it's chickens and pigs, well, it's pigs specifically, you know,
The producers get off scot-free.
we just have to do it differently. You know, I still want pork, I still want bacon, I still want sausages, I still want ham. We just have to do it a little bit differently.
Interesting.
Change the animal, same shit. So that's Hurricane Florence, and thank goodness there are so many activists out there, you know, trying to document what's happening, trying to save any animals that have survived, lots of cats and dogs that were able to, you know, hide or climb higher, get them to safety. But it's just...
And again, we have to ask ourselves, Hurricane Florence is most likely an example of the effects of climate change. And the animal agriculture industry is one of the leading causes of climate change. Shouldn't we err on the side of caution and assume that Hurricane Florence is part of climate change? And if so, let's look at the causes and see what we can do to address them. The first that we can do is stop buying animal products, stop supporting an industry that is one of the leading causes of climate change. True?
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, I'm going to agree with you. All right. Let's end on a... How would we even describe this?
I was going to say on another note, but is it a similar note? I don't know. Some more absurdity. Yeah?
This happened in Australia, in Melbourne, our home city. A guy goes into KFC, orders his murdered bird meal, and he finds a heart, a chicken heart, inside his chicken. tender thing that he just bought.
Fancy that, finding a part of a chicken in your chicken.
He says, KFC, can you explain this to me? Here's your explanation, buddy. The chicken that you just ate had a heart, a beating heart. They were alive. He or she was a living, sentient being. We had to kill he or she so you could eat their breast or their leg or whatever part, wing. They also had a heart. And you know, this happens all the time when people find animal, you know, either like a brain or an organ or something. Yeah, it's these animals, they don't just like, I wonder, do people think like they just grow wings out of somewhere and they just grow thighs out of somewhere? All of these body parts came attached to one being.
And what's interesting
Right.
is that if we were really omnivores, then we would have no problem consuming all of the animals. The organs, the tendons, you know, the brains, you know, the lot, the skin, but we're very selective over what parts of the animal. Now, what other omnivore is selective in that way? They just devour the whole body, you know? So that really, it's very telling, isn't it?
It says everything. So this 21-year-old, he received a refund for his purchase.
Did the chicken get a refund on his or her life?
Anyhow, so he got a little reality check, didn't he?
Yeah. You're eating someone.
Who has a heart. All right. That was good.
That was good. You enjoyed that? I enjoyed that too. Did you guys enjoy what you were eating?
Want some?
A little bit left behind.
I put on my salad. So that, I've got tahini fingers. That is this week's TVC News Desk.
What did you guys think about any of the stories that we've raised this week? Let us know in the comments below. We would love to read them, as would others.
Yes, and if you want us to cover certain things next week,
Yes.
let us know. You can either leave a comment here or message us on Instagram.
Or send us an email via the website.
Yep, you know, all that good stuff. Is that it?
I think that's
We're
it.
good?
We're good.
All right. Thank you so much for watching.
Really appreciate it, guys. Lovely to eat with you, as always. Like, share, subscribe, turn on notifications.
Yes, make sure you turn on notifications. As we say every week, it is a miracle that you're actually watching this video because YouTube automatically unsubscribes people from us and they don't let people know when we actually have uploaded a video. So if you haven't seen us around for a little while, make sure you come over to the channel and check it out. We're uploading every week, several times every week.
We'd really appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Remember, until next time, that going vegan is not the most we can do.
It's the least we can do. See you next video.
Bye, guys.